Hey, how are you all doing today? I hope everyone's having a great day as always. And so what today's video is going to be is 5 tips to become a better dancer. So my reasoning for creating this video is because I do get a lot of DMs and questions on Instagram asking what are the best tips and what are the best strategies to become a better dancer. So I just thought I'd compile 5 of my best tips that I have for you all, and hopefully that these will be able to help you out. So the first tip that I have for you all today is about speed. So I know that when we start to learn a new dance style, what we tend to do is we try to just straight away dance at the full speed like all the professionals are. But what I can tell you is that is a very ineffective way to start dancing. And I was also guilty of this when I started, but what I ended up learning over time is that it didn't really help me out. And so I ended up coming up with a little bit of a guide, a little bit of a strategy you could call it, and I'll be telling you guys about that now. And I also will be providing an example of how I did that. So I'll explain it first before I show the example. So what I would do is I would start by learning the specific dance or step or combination or whatever you want to call it at 1/8 of the regular full speed. And by doing this, I was able to better refine the moves and be able to really, get that technique down. And then once I'd learn it at 1/8 of the speed, I would move on to 1/4 of the speed and then do the exact same as I was with 1/8 of the speed. And then once I learned it in the 1/4 speed, I would move on to a half speed. And once it was learned at that, I would move on to the full speed. And I found that that was the most quick and really best way for me to learn. So for those who have not watched me dance before or know anything about me, basically the style of the dance that I practice is called cutting shapes and shuffle. And so basically what I'm going to be doing is showcasing a move that I do quite often called the running man. And I'll just be showing that in 1/8, 1/4, a half, and then full speed, just as an example. But obviously this applies for any style and any move that you're going to be doing. So the move I'm showcasing is the running man. It's a move I do a lot. So starting in 1/8 of the normal speed, I'm going to keep doing that until I learn it greatly in that speed. And then once I've done that, I'll move on to the 1/4 speed. And then once you learn it in that speed, you want to move on to the half speed. And then basically what you want to do is once you've refined it in all of these different speeds, move on to the full speed. And so now you'll see the full speed here. And obviously this is just an example. I already know this move very well, but that's the sort of way that you want to go about it. So the second tip that I have for you all today is about repetition. And this is probably the most important tip that I will be telling you all about today. So I have a specific strategy that I used for repetition. So this may work for you, this may not. It's about finding what really just works for you. So what I would do is every first or second day, I would dance for about 30 minutes. And by constantly doing a repeated activity, it would tell my brain, hey, this person must be doing this a lot, so it has to be important. And so it would strengthen those neural connections in the brain and helping to refine my technique. And this is also known as muscle memory. And so I'm just going to read out a definition of muscle memory, and you'll see how it relates back to everything I have just told you. So muscle memory is a form of procedural memory that involves consolidating a specific motor task into memory through repetition, which has been used synonymously through motor learning. And this shows that through what I've been saying, that constant repetition will definitely help to refine your technique. So the third tip that I have for you all today about becoming a better dancer is about mindset. And I know you might be thinking, what? But I'll tell you why and how it does help. So there are 2 key areas that I specifically want to talk about, and that's about discipline and determination. So let's talk about discipline. So this is the first part of the mindset that I want to get into. So when you start to learn how to dance, you might have to switch around your priorities a little bit. So instead of watching TV, playing video games, you might want to switch that time around and put more of that time into dancing instead. And by putting more time into dancing, you're going to find that over time, it's going to become much easier to dance regularly. And therefore, by doing this, you're going to help refine your technique and ultimately improve your discipline. So that's the first part. And now let's talk about the second part of mindset, and that is about determination. So obviously, when you start dancing, you want to have a good determination and know that You want to get good at this. You want to ingrain that in your mind that this is something that you truly want to get good at, and you have to know that it's not going to just happen overnight. It's going to take months, potentially years to get really good. And many dancers don't realize this when starting out, but your mental strength plays just as big of a role as your physical strength when wanting to become a better dancer. So the fourth tip that I have for you all today is a very, very important one. And this is about not comparing yourself to other dancers. So I know that depending on the style of dance that you're learning or working on, we all have a specific role model that we do look up to. And the thing I want to say about this that's very, very important, it is fine to admire these people, but do not compare yourself to them. So think about this. Here's a little example. Say you're watching a dancer that you really do admire and you're saying, wow, they're so good, but then you start to compare yourself to them and saying, wow, compared to them, I am trash, I suck, I can't do this. And then you just go down a whole negative spiral. And then ultimately, this is very likely to destroy you and demotivate you from continuing to dance. And that's why I say it's fine to admire these people, but just do not compare yourself to them, as ultimately it leads to a negative mindset and ultimately can very well demotivate you. So now on to the fifth and final tip that I have for you all today about how to become a better dancer. So this is about posture. And when we talk about posture with dancing, it's very important that we want to maintain a frame that sort of makes us look very confident. So what I say to do is make sure you pop your chest out and you make it so your head's looking in front. And by doing this, it's obviously going to make you look a lot more confident. And not only that, it's going to make your form a lot better when you're dancing. And compare this to someone who sort of hunches their body in and looks downwards while they dance. It's going to make them look a lot less confident and ultimately will affect their form when they're dancing and make themselves look a lot worse. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide an example of good posture versus bad posture. And so you'll be able to see it much better than me just talking on the camera. So now an example of good and bad posture. So this here is bad posture. As you can see, my neck's sort of slouching down and I'm sort of looking down at the ground. Compare this with the good posture now with my chest outwards and looking in front. I look a lot more confident this way. So now you'll see again where I'm sort of slouching with the posture and looking at the ground. Makes you look a lot more weaker, less confident compared to this, where my chest is out and looking in front. I look a lot more confident this way. So now here's an example of bad posture with the move I was doing before the running man. And now here it is with a good posture. And you can clearly tell that this looks a lot better than when you're slouching down and looking at the ground. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope the 5 tips that I have provided for you all will help you out. And if you did have any questions, please remember to leave them down below. So also, I have a question for you. Please let me know if you want me to make more improvement videos just like this, because I want to branch out from doing more than just dance tutorials. And if you did enjoy this video, please remember to leave a like down below and to subscribe for more content coming very soon. And other than that, thanks again, and I'll see you all later.